Welcome back, everybody, to Critics Play Games. It's me, Zach, and I'm back with my good friend Patrick to discuss Lego Star Wars. Patrick, you're almost at 100% completion on this thing.
After 85 hours.
Jesus Christ, because I'll tell you right now, there's no fucking way I would hit 100% of completion in this game. I started playing it, I'm like, oh, I can platinum this thing. I just platinumed Elden Ring. I'll be able to do this. Hell no. The amount of hours that you have to put into this fucking game to get that is insane, but we're going to have a great discussion here, and I haven't told Patrick my overall thoughts yet. He's known some feelings, but I beat the game last night. And Patrick, you ready for me to blow your mind before I hit the intro?
Let's do it.
I think the game's overrated. Welcome back, guys, to Critics Play Games. Once again, my name is Zach. This is Patrick. Make sure to go subscribe over to Patrick. I'll make sure to put his link down below. He does a bunch of great reactions and reviews over there. And if you don't know why it's called Critics Play Games, well, we are film critics who also love playing video games. So that's why we're over here. Christian and Leo have not played Star Wars, so it's only me and Patrick here. But that's fine because we're going to have fun. So like I said in my intro, I think the game's overrated. I think it's fun, but I have a lot of thoughts on this. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't think it's worth $60. That's my personal opinion.
You only spent 60. I spent 110.
That's a fucking joke. Did you buy the special edition?
I bought the deluxe edition. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's fine.
I special characters.
And fair enough. And I bought the season pass for that so I could play as Mando and stuff like that. Which is
and
cool.
Not only that, for DLC levels and that get released later down the track.
Oh, sweet. So let's start with this, and I just want to start with our overall basic thoughts. I'm gonna go off because I'm sure people are flipping out about what I just said. I think the game's a little bit overrated. I grew up playing almost every Lego Star Wars game. The only one I don't think I've played is Clone Wars. I've played Complete Saga, original trilogy, prequels, whatever you want to say it is. I've played it, and I loved it. And I love the Indiana Jones ones. I love the Pirates of the Caribbean one. I even love the Marvel one. I have loved Lego for a lot of my life. So when this game was announced, I was so excited. I'm like, you're going to have all 9 games. A little bit disappointed they didn't do Rogue One, Solo, and Mando. Eventually, maybe, hopefully, they should do Mandalorian. I think that would be really, really fun. But I'm like, this is a great idea. It looks open world vastly, and the game is huge. I have no issues with how big the game is, how much is in the game, how big each world is. I think that is all excellent. And I will say the game got better as it went on. I think the prequels are terrible. I not the movies. I enjoy the movies for what they are. I think the prequel levels are almost terrible compared to the original Lego Star Wars games. And that's why I think this game is a little bit overrated. If you're playing this game co-op, I'm sorry for whoever you're playing co-op with this, because when you go up against Anakin and Revenge of the Sith, you're going to play as a fucking droid. And that is the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
That is so true.
I cannot believe that they didn't have you switch between Anakin and Obi-Wan. I literally cannot believe that. The Phantom Menace, awesome. I thought that was great. I love that level. Attack of the Clones, Geonosis is like the one level I was looking forward to. Gotta be honest, disappointed with it. If you go back and look at Geonosis in the original level, there is more.
And the Droid Factory.
Yep, there's more war. Like, I'm baffled by some of the decisions they made. But again, these are my initial thoughts. Original trilogy, I really liked. Sequel trilogy, again, we haven't had it before. There's some things in there to where they are very dedicated and straightforward into the game. So there isn't a ton in there. But I still had fun with it for what it was, because it was new and I didn't have anything else to compare it to. But again, the original trilogy, just like the movies, it is hands down the best part about the entire game. So, Patrick, give me your overall quick thoughts before we start talking about the pros, man.
Okay, while I love the game personally, maybe a little bit more than Zach, I have to agree that the prequel trilogy in regards to the levels are easily the weakest. I thought Phantom Menace was fantastic. It's actually my top 3 movie playthroughs of this game. I think that from the battle with the Gungans, which we didn't see in the Complete Saga or the original prequel trilogy game on the PS2 for Lego, one of my favorite levels in the entire game. That is so much fun, especially one of the level challenges where you have to shoot off like this many heads of droids in your free play playthrough. That was a lot of fun to do. I think that everything in regards to the Darth Maul stuff was a lot of fun on that level. It's a little bit more broad and open and intuitive in comparison to the original, where it was like, oh, he throws this at you, then you force it back and just
Yep,
go
I think
on.
I will go as far as say the boss levels are 10 times better in this game than
Mhm.
they ever were in any other Lego game.
Yep.
Maybe right next to Pirates of the Caribbean, because I think all the stuff with Davy
Mhm.
Jones was awesome in that one.
Yep.
But I agree with you on that. I think the boss levels in here, every single one, Kylo, Darth Vader, Count Dooku,
Anakin.
I thought Count Dooku, Anakin, I mean, besides my issues with the co-op, yes, I overall agree. I like how it is structured, and I like the fighting mechanics of that a little bit better.
Yeah, I was gonna say the combat mechanics and having to build up a combo and everything, a combo
Yep.
meter, otherwise, and you have to do different sort of moves and attacks, otherwise they all learn to block your attacks, added this extra layer to the game overall. Um, my biggest problem though is how big this game is. I do think it is a bit too big for its bridges. Now, this isn't unfamiliar. Like Lego Superheroes 2, Marvel Superheroes 2 is a huge game in its
Oh,
own
it's
as well.
insane. Yep.
But that game only took me 60 hours to platinum. I'm currently 85 hours into my 100% completion process, and I'm at 90%, if not slightly short of, which is stupid for a Lego game.
Yep.
The fact that, how long did it take you to platinum Elden Ring, Zach? Like 85 hours?
Took me, I think, 85, 86. But if I take out, honestly, that game you could platinum in 60, 70 hours. I fucked up on
Mhm.
one of my playthroughs. There's one thing you can miss, and I didn't do it. So I had to literally replay the
Mhm.
game up until that point to get it. But besides that, I mean, it was once my character was so leveled up in that game
Mhm.
that my fourth playthrough, it didn't even matter. I could literally, as long as I wasn't an idiot, I could storm through and kill everything in a couple hits.
Yeah. Like, that's what I'm trying to get at. The fact that a Lego game is bigger and longer to 100% than a Souls type game, I think
Mhm.
is ridiculous. The requirement for 100% on this, from the overly elaborate missions for getting like certain character tokens, a problem I found in regards to 100%ing certain planets like Naboo or Tatooine, is that to unlock certain character token challenges and missions, you have to complete this specific challenge and mission on another fucking
Yep.
planet.
But
And
I think
sometimes
that's
there are
cool to a
multiple of
certain
those.
extent. I think that's cool
Yes,
to a certain extent. But I
but
do
it's
get what you're saying.
frustrating.
Yes.
It's
And
time
that's,
consuming
yeah,
and it just drags it out. And it just feels very annoying to get through
repetitive.
sometimes.
Repetitive, I think,
Yes.
is the big thing. And that's why I'll get a little bit into my cons, because we'll talk about that in a second. I do want to start more positive because that's how I do like the game. Not
Mhm.
bad. I know I said it's
No, it's
overrated,
not
but
bad.
I don't think it's the best Lego Star Wars game. I think it has some of the best elements. And we'll talk about that when we do talk more about some of the mixed and con elements. But
Mhm.
I mean, starting with the pros, man, I do think that first off, the game is stunning. The graphical
Yeah.
power in this, the way that it runs, besides like some glitches here, which I know you ran into some, your glitches you ran into, I didn't run into at all in that level. I actually
Oh,
ran
mine
into
were
it
great.
in I ran into mine versus Count Dooku to the point where I couldn't even fight him.
Oh.
I had to keep refreshing a load until I finally
I
got
had
that.
that
So,
I had that with, what is it? The, fight on Mustafar with Anakin, when I
oh,
was going
see,
for my mini kits. I had the same issue when I was going for my mini kits. It wouldn't let me access that final part of the battle where you go over the beam and
mhm,
then go down to the lava
yep,
pit.
which I can get. So there's some glitches in there, but really much the game is beautiful to look at. This is the
Mhm.
best looking Lego Star Wars game. I like a majority of, well, let me say this. Every single cutscene they have in here is great. All the humor, everything in there is
Mhm.
hilarious. I love when you switch different characters and they talk. Like there is so many inside jokes here that are hilarious. The
Clone
open
Wars
world,
actors.
yes. And that's another thing. The voice actors are great. And you can change it to the mumble mode if you want to do mumbling, and that's fine. But I do like that they went with the voice actors. And again, one of my issues with the prequels as well, kind of not trying to segue too much, but there weren't enough cutscenes to really tell the story. Where the original trilogy and I felt the sequel trilogy had enough to tell the story still
Mhm.
there for people like, and I'm looking at kids more of not my age who have already seen these, but these might be the first introduction to Star Wars for someone. And for them not to be able to follow a story is a little bit disappointing to me, but I loved every cutscene. I love how it looked. And I know you mentioned it, dude. The action is in here. Great. The shooting
Yeah.
mechanics, the lightsaber fights.
Yeah.
What did you prefer? Did you prefer more of the shooting or did you prefer more of the lightsaber stuff?
During the story, I preferred the lightsaber stuff, but through my free roam stuff, Honestly, I can't not play as a blaster character. I
Yeah. Bounty hunter or
honestly
something like that.
I'm always playing as either Mando or
Yeah.
Boba Fett. It's
Yep.
either one. I'm always running around, and it's just so much fun,
Mhm.
especially during the Gonk Droid escort missions. It's so convenient to not have to do that close combat, and you can just shoot from a
Yeah.
distance. Otherwise, it's just
Woo-hoo!
also going to
Yeah.
take way too long.
And it's a lot of fun in that, and that's one of the things I really loved is another thing you mentioned, so many characters to play as.
Oh
You
my god,
name someone, you
380
can
of
play as
them.
them. And I
Oh my
love it
god.
because the one that I play as is one of my favorites, and that's General Grievous. So I love
Mm,
playing as him and getting all his different things and doing the little
yep.
helicopter
You can
move.
you can play as the little trunk elephant type guy
Oh,
who
Max
plays the
Rebo. Max
yeah,
Rebo, yeah.
you can play as him after unlocking him in the Junlin, what is it, junkyard or whatever it is on Tatooine.
Well, and that's the one thing. I was genuinely surprised to go through all the characters and see how many actual Clone Wars characters there are that weren't even
Yeah,
in. Now, I'm a little bit disappointed they don't have Captain Rex or
Cody.
younger Ahsoka. And Cody's in there. Commander Cody's in
Oh,
there. He's the
Cody
one
is
that
in there.
faces.
He is in
Yeah,
there.
it's Ahsoka that because there's some other ones that are in there. And I'm like, okay, so you included this character. No, Cad Bane is another one. Like there's
Yeah,
just
that's
certain
missed
things in there that
opportunity.
again they're not a part of the story, but you could have put them into. There's always DLCs, I guess. Whatever. That's
Clone
just me
Wars
bitching,
DLC
but
might happen.
yeah, but I do love exactly what they have done in here within the world and the building, and
Mhm.
there is so much fun to do. Personally, for me, some of my favorite missions were the flying stuff. I thought that was so
Yes.
invigorating and
Oh,
just
it's
exciting.
the flight mechanics in this were better than they were in Battlefront 2. I'm not even
Oh,
joking. I
easily, easily.
strongly
What
oh,
was your favorite mission? Mine might be I've replayed the New Hope the Death Star run so many times. I find that mission to be so much fun.
mine's actually the first one. What is it? What is it? Light speed jumping. At the beginning of Rise of Skywalker. That is the
Oh,
most
good
fun
pick.
level,
Yeah,
and farming studs for that
it's
is
so easy
so
there.
easy. It's so easy to farm your studs if you want those multipliers on that level. And the what is it? Stay on target, which is the final level of A New Hope.
Yeah.
Those are the two easiest levels to farm your studs if you want those multipliers, because that's exactly what I
Mhm.
did to get my, 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10 times multipliers as
Yeah.
fast as I could.
And it helps a lot, definitely. If you like trust
Oh
me, if there's
yeah.
a character you want, you literally just go into like one level, like shoot a couple boxes, and you're like, cool, I can buy them now. Like I genuinely like how much depth there is to a lot of it. And even the combat, I was actually genuinely surprised
Mhm.
to see some of the combos you could do with selective characters and everything like that. So Pat, was there any pros that I didn't mention that you'd like to talk about, man?
I could say the music, but it's pretty much just the Star Wars music. But I
It's still
think
badass
one
though.
Oh, it is. But I think what I've got to say is it goes back to the graphics again. The blend of the Lego built world with the pre-rendered 3D backgrounds. Because as we know, Lego
Beautiful.
has done this for ages, pre-rendered backgrounds with the 3D in the Lego models in the forefront. But the thing is, in this, there were certain environments, especially while exploring Naboo and Tatooine, where those backgrounds, the pre-rendered 3D backgrounds, actually genuinely looked like real environments.
Yep.
They were so detailed. And I'm so glad I finally got my PS5 literally like a week
Yes.
or two before the game came out. And I'm like, holy shit, I don't have to play this on the PS4. And I'm so glad I didn't have to, because I can guarantee you it would have been an even buggier game on last gen. Like,
Exactly.
there was some pretty infuriating bugs in this game that I encountered. One of them was on the speeder level in Return of the Jedi, where
Mhm.
literally the map didn't load and I was crashing over and over again. And I completed that level by sheer dumb fucking luck in the end.
Yeah. And that is a lot of, there's a lot of glitches that always, but again, this is a kids game. So I mean, you're hearing
Yeah.
grown adults pretty much talk shit about a game at times. So I mean, that's my thing. Like if I had kids, I think they'd love this game. I think this would be a great to my entire life and everything kind of in there. And in general, I think there's a lot of fun elements into this whole entire thing that really surprises a lot of people. So one of the things I did want to ask you before we kind of segue over to our cons is what was your favorite joke in here? I have one, and I'm curious to see if we have the same one. So I wanted to ask you first.
It's not even in a level.
Okay.
It's if you play as young Anakin and Darth Vader, Anakin will ask Darth Vader that something along the lines of, "That's a cool suit. Where can I get one?" And Darth Vader then replies with, "Patience, young one." And I'm like, "Oh,
Oh, that's funny.
that's really clever. I
That's
like that." It's
awesome.
either that or when Darth Maul gets cut up in Phantom Menace and he uses the lightsaber between his teeth and
Yeah.
Obi-Wan just fucking drop kicks him.
It's funny. My favorite one is Rise of Skywalker when Rey's about to kill Palpatine, and he goes, "Anakin!" Oh, he's dead. Then just fucking boom. There's a lot of fun in here, and that's where you heard me kind of talk about it earlier. Let's then jump into the cons. We've mentioned the bugs and stuff like that. I don't really like to talk on those because that can vary from person to person. Some people might not run into any. Some people might. My biggest issue, I think, goes back to what our introduction was, and that is the prequel trilogy. I felt like they kind of half-assed it a little bit. Whether it was with some of the storytelling with less cutscenes, to some just sheer stuff. And honestly, this goes through a lot of the games. Is like the boss battle on Revenge of the Sith is awesome, but if you play that thing co-op, it fucking sucks. And I do think that when you switch to the droids mid-fight, it kills all of the pacing. I was very disappointed in that.
It's the same thing with the Droid Factory in
Attack
of the Clones, because I love the original Attack of the Clones Lego game. What is it? When it came to the complete saga, Attack of the Clones is one of my favorite stories to play through in that game.
It used to be one of my favorites because of that reason.
Exactly. And the Droid Factory level was always a fucking great time. And that game's still fresh in my mind because I only played it less than 18 months ago here on my channel. I streamed the entire complete saga on PC. And in this game, the pacing from switching between characters was a very similar issue I had with the Star Wars The Clone Wars Lego game, where switching between characters and locations, and it just ruined the pacing. I know that Lego Star Wars The Force Awakens did that, but it did it right, because it was switching between different environments with different characters, like the prologue level where you switched between being down on Endor to being in the Millennium Falcon trying to destroy the Death Star 2. That's how you do that sort of thing right, because it doesn't ruin the pacing for that location. It actually smoothens it out. Here, though, switching from droid to Jedi to Sith to blaster character, whether you're a hero, a rebel, or a scoundrel, or a bounty hunter, you name it. It's very weird pacing when you're having to switch back and forward to complete certain tasks. And some of the levels are way too big, broad, and non-linear, to the point that they sort of became a nightmare, especially when it came to level challenges.
But you know what I think was the nightmare? I think it's the repetitiveness of the game. Now, again, this is a kid's game. Kids do not give one shit about what they do. They watch that Coco Melon shit all day long, and they don't care. Like,
and that Baby Shark shit.
Yeah, so, and that's my thing, is that this is a kid's game. Kids are going to absolutely love this game, but for people who want that kind of nostalgia like you and me were looking for, I think there will be elements where you're like, oh my god, this totally reminds me, this is better than when I played as a kid, But for me, my favorite thing to play as a kid was the prequel trilogy, and I felt short-staffed from that thing. And I'm actually glad I didn't save that for last. I was going to save it for last, and I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad I got that out of the way, because then I would have been pissed that I ended on a sour note more. And I think that kind of comes down to it. Just to name the two biggest issues. Some of the things feel a little bit half-assed, for especially how long we were waiting for this game. And the second thing is, it's just too damn repetitive at times. It's mostly to the collectible stuff like you're trying to do. That's why I'm never going to 100% this thing. That's too much.
That's my biggest issue with the game. I've mentioned this to you over text when we were talking about the game as well, playing through it in our own respective playthroughs. The story feels too short. Wisely so, because I think Traveler's Tales understood how big this game was. But that's at the expense of the greater and more enlarged story to bring to life in the Lego format. And at that, literally, it's like Crash Bandicoot 4. It's about time all over again. You try to platinum this game or that game, you only have 1/5 of a game with the story. The rest of the game is your completion bullshit, which is very repetitive and has a ridiculous standard and requirement for you to want 100%, to the point that it is beyond exhausting. Playing this game, I'm trying to at least put 5 to 6 hours in a day, which is a struggle with my YouTube schedule. But with that, playing this game for more than 2 hours at a time while trying to do the completion stuff is exhausting, because it's like, all right, go grab this Kyber brick, then go grab this Kyber brick, then go do this mission. Oh, to do this mission, you have to travel through hyperspace to this planet. All right, cool. Then you have to travel through hyperspace to this. You get where I'm going at. It is the same missions over and over again. The most unique ones are the Jawa missions on Tatooine, and that is it. But I preferred the puzzle-based ones rather than the ones where it's just like, oh, walk here, grab this, or
Yeah.
go here, then travel here. And it's just a really annoying process, especially when there are something like 380 characters. There's like 125 ships, and fuck off 1,166 Kyber bricks. That is a ridiculous requirement for what is the equivalent of your gold bricks. And grabbing all of those is a monotonous process, and it's just not even fun anymore.
Yep. I agree. I mean, and that's kind of what, like, again, kids might be able to do all that because they'll have fun. You know, they don't care. I just, for me, I think this is a game that I think a lot of it comes down to expectations for what us older people were kind of looking for within the game. It's still a good game. I've seen some people claim this as the best Lego Star Wars game ever made,
No,
or just in general the best Lego game. I don't think
I
this is the
thought
best
that
Lego game.
I thought that initially after completing my original playthrough of about 19 hours through the story, which, by the way, I've got 85 hours in this game, and the story was 19 hours. Take that for what you will. And that's how long this game is to a ridiculous degree. But
Yep.
with that, I made a tweet with my general thoughts and reviews saying that this was one of the best Star Wars games ever made. Having gone more through it, I've started to notice more and more of the issues with this game while through my completion process. And I guarantee you, if you're like kids or people who aren't completionists like myself or aren't looking,
You're gonna
more
think
into
this
it
game's
like
great.
Zach and
You're
I
gonna
are,
think this game's
exactly.
amazing.
But looking more into it, and if you're a completionist, this is a completion process that you will fucking dread.
Yeah.
So,
So and that's my thing. Like, I mean, just kind of to round out our complete to round out our complete thoughts. I think the games are good. I think it's a really good game that I look forward to keeping in my collection. I look forward to, you know, one day showing my kids it. Like, when they want to see a Lego Star Wars game, this is the game I'm going to have them play. It's the best one made, but nostalgically, I do think it's losing a couple different things, especially when it comes down to the prequel stuff. I do think everything with the original trilogy and the sequel trilogy is great. It's
what was your
fun.
favorite trilogy? Mine was personally the sequel trilogy to play through. I loved playing through the sequel trilogy.
It's tough because I was genuinely surprised how good the original trilogy was. I think for me the sequel trilogy is good because it's all new. They'd only made Force Awakens, so I'm gonna go sequel. I'm gonna go original trilogy. Just because I had so much fun with A New Hope, and A New Hope's not even in my top 3 Star Wars films of all time. So the fact that that was like one of my favorites. So I genuinely liked it, but I do think the sequel trilogy has a lot of fun humor. I think that might be the funniest one of the all. So I enjoy it. I enjoyed this game, but people claiming this as being the best Lego game, maybe top 5, maybe top 3, but I wouldn't say it's number 1. And I think you guys got to go back and play some of those other ones because I genuinely think this is. I don't even think this is one of the best Star Wars games. I think this is a fun, nostalgic-filled one that's missing a lot of different elements, but it's a fun time. It's one that I don't think it's worth $60, 50, 40, sure.
I can list 5 Lego games that I actually think are better off the top of my head. I actually think the Complete Saga is better. Okay. I also think Lego Superheroes, Marvel Superheroes 2 is better.
That one's great.
Lego DC Supervillains was phenomenal. Lego Batman 3. And then I'd probably have to go with Lego The Lord of the Rings.
I've never played the Lord of the Rings ones. For me, if I were to kind of just give my top 5 off the top of my head from what I remember, my number 1 would probably be the Lego Complete Saga. 2, Lego Star Wars Complete Saga. 2, I would do Lego Indiana Jones. I think that is so underrated and so much fun. Probably Lego Pirates. I thought Lego Pirates was a big surprise.
I haven't played that in years.
Oh, really? And then this one, and then I guess my number 5 would probably be Lego Marvel. Lego Marvel is kind of where I start falling off with this stuff, but I don't know, man. Like, out of 10, I'm probably gonna give this game an 8 out of 10. I was kind of expecting like a 9 out of 10, especially from some of the earlier reviews. I really think it's still a solid game, but I just, it's fun. Like, I don't think it's terrible. Like, I wouldn't give it anything under an 8, but I also wouldn't go anything above.
For me personally, a lot of it boils down to the fact of I want to judge this game and I want to, give my grade based on everything it has to provide. And that comes with the repetitiveness repetitiveness and the requirement.
Yep.
Because a big part of Lego games is 100% completing them. Here, you have to be so dedicated. It's not even funny. And sometimes even trying to do the missions on the 23 different planets is buggy. And they're very small things, yes, and I know that they can be patched. But there are so many things that this game does right. For one, I think removing the red bricks was a very wise choice.
Yep.
That they're unlocked already. You just need to get what are known as data cards. A really cool new addition.
I like the data card stuff. I really like the data card stuff.
I think they're a really cool addition. I did those all in my free time before I even
Same.
completed the story because I was like, I want to get my multipliers.
Yep.
But I just think that the requirement, the repetitiveness, and just the grand scheme of things, it doesn't feel like a full game. It feels like a quarter of a game with the rest of it being just a completionist nightmare because you're only getting like a quarter of the game's the story. And then the rest is something that no one's going to play aside from people who are dedicated in the end, which is totally fine. But when you look at it,
I am actually going back and doing stuff before before I had beaten the game because I knew I would not beat this. Once I beat the game, I'm not going to play it anymore. I not for a while at least. Like I know my girlfriend wants to go through it, so like we'll probably do that. But still, other than that, like I don't know, man. So what's your score out of 10?
My original score when I'd actually completed the story was about an 8 out of 10 as well. But having now played it for 85 hours,
you're a broken man.
Honestly, it's about a 6.5 if I'm being honest.
Wow.
Because
you are a broken man. Take out the collecting part, though.
Take out the collecting part. The completionist side of things of getting 100%. The story alone, 8 out of 10, easy. Okay. But with everything the game has to offer and the game as a complete product, it's like a 6.5 because it feels like a quarter of a game with the rest being that 100% completion thing. And I have to judge a Lego game on that because that's something that is one of the most fun things to do as a Lego video game.
Yep.
I
get it, man.
It's not here.
I get it. So I guess to kind of leave out the last thing, I will say I'm looking forward to see if they support the game in more than just character packs. I know you mentioned some other levels, but how much are those levels going to be fun? Is it just going to be something small? Like I would like to see what they expand into here. But other than that, I got nothing else to say, man. Do you got anything else you want to leave out there?
I think the stuff I want to say I should leave for a separate video another time regarding the completion process of this game.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, if you decide to make one, man, you have a spot for it and you know where to find us. So guys, make sure to go subscribe over to Patrick's channel. He's a great film critic, film reactionary, all over there having a blast.
And anime now.
Yeah. And anime. Yes.
Started the anime stuff this week. May not perform as well as everything else, but you know what? I'm having a blast. I'm recording my season 4 reactions, the Data Live episodes 1 and 2 now that I'm caught up, and I can't wait to watch the new season.
Well, I'm happy for you, man. And for me, if you guys want to check out movie reviews and TV reviews, I talk all that stuff over there on a daily basis at Zach Pope Reviews. And other than that, I'm over here talking video games with Leo, Christian, and of course, Patrick most of the time, and other people when they decide to join us. So other than that, guys, may the force be with you all. Leave your comments down below on what your guys' thoughts are on the Lego Star Wars. If you completely disagree with us, that is completely fine. The title of this video is probably going to be why the Lego Star Wars film game is not the best Lego game ever. But again, that'll be for post-production. Thank you so much again for watching. And of course, until next time, keep playing games.